Get it right this time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Sunday and it's time to jump into the rotation.
I'll fix it.
So, see now, where's my title?
Cue that 30 to 15 music.
The No, you hit the table and it knocked wires out, and now I can't hear anything.
Yeah, but your dog hit the wires back the other way. I just had to. It was just
All
made of
right, I
compensation.
gotta figure this out. Hold on, guys. I got.
All right. From now on, I will only hit you. If that works out better for you. Well, it is Sunday, and it's time for the rotation with your favorite folks from Suncoast Normal. I'm Gary Stein, the political director. Just below me is coming direct from the top of the bottom of the Beltway, Chris Cano.
Hi, Kano.
Hey there. How we doing?
What's up? It's good to see you.
Whew, it's good to be back on the show. Last weekend, I had to drive back up here to DC, so I missed the show, but it was a long drive. I'm glad we're back on track.
Damn, these headphones are bothering me.
Yeah,
I don't even think that the people that are watching can hear this, but carry on, guys. Carry on.
So you drove back to Washington D.C. Did you have any issues in regards to the gendarme on the way up there?
Easy drive. Didn't run into any issues with the police or anything. I will say that being back here in DC, though, I'm glad to see that there's some actual movement of what's going on and changing some of the cannabis laws here. There's some key votes coming up. One of the votes that's happened every single year since 2014 is to vote to authorize in the budget not to use our taxpayer dollars, allowing the Department of Justice to, essentially raid dispensaries in adult use and legal medical marijuana states. So I'm glad that that's back in the budget this year, and something that folks can, take advantage of. But there is, one definite thing that I really like that's coming up here, and there's federal legislation pending to expand veterans' access to medical marijuana. And so, looking at the Veterans Access Amendment, right now, veteran doctors are forbidden from providing paperwork to complete a doctor's recommendation, forcing military veterans to have to go out of network, pay out of pocket. Some of our vets are on fixed incomes. And so that's definitely a concern. And this is something that has passed in previous sessions of Congress. However, Republicans sitting on the House Appropriations Committee have oftentimes elected to remove the language during the final, conferencing concurrent votes. So, with the change in the Senate currently being under the Democrats, everything is optimistic this year that the Veterans Access Amendment will finally pass, and VA doctors will be able to recommend medical marijuana to their patients.
That's about damn time. I mean, seriously, we have so many vets out there with PTSD. It would make absolute sense if the VA would embrace that kind of thing. Almost like as if we had the cure for Agent Orange,
Yeah, if we had a cure for Agent Orange, hopefully my grandfather would still be with us, but he passed away from leukemia back in 2005 from complications due to exposure for Agent Orange. His base in Thailand during the Vietnam conflict came under attack, and that he was serving at the base where they stored it. And so, being a plumber, he probably got exposed to it while he was fixing pipes after his base came under attack. So it's a shame that so many folks out there, especially our vets, have been exposed to so many things over the years, whether it's Vietnam vets and Agent Orange, or Gulf War vets being exposed, and contracting Gulf War syndrome, or like you said, Gary, just the PTSD. So there are a lot of different, things out there that cannabis can treat. A lot of different conditions that our veterans are suffering from, whether those scars are visible or not. And it's important. So I'm asking everyone, click this link or copy it, paste it, and send a letter to your member of Congress asking them to support this. You can actually click the link and write a letter to your senators and to your representatives and asking them to be on board with this. Now, if you're in Florida, I highly encourage you to send it, because what I want you to see is the response you get back from our United States senators, namely Marco Rubio and Rick Scott. And you will be highly pissed off or at least, at the very least, sadly disappointed by the
What do you
response you
get
get.
back?
Oh,
It's not often that you can get pissed off by a form letter.
What what do
I
you
guess
mean a form
he
letter?
just wants
Like
to piss off
what
everybody.
do they get? What do you get back? Like what do they?
it's one of those automated emails that'll tell you, basically they don't support marijuana legalization in any way. Marijuana is a gateway drug. We already have a massive opioid
Ah,
problem, and I'm sitting there like, okay, you do know that marijuana is an exit drug that can get people off of opioids, that can help our vets. One of the things that really irritated me was that uh, a big pharma, namely Purdue, was given, essentially the VA system to utilize as a testing ground for its opioids, and the opioid epidemic, essentially started with our veterans being experimented on, and it's not right. And now when there is an actual substance that can get them off of the opioids, you have these senators in place saying, "Oh no!" When these senators were complicit in the epidemic because they took money from these pharmaceutical companies. And so it is absolutely a serious issue that we have to step up and advocate for our veterans for. So
isn't
I
it isn't it crazy when you look into like the real history of drugs, like how many lies are just said to you? Like, I mean, even
yeah.
like cocaine, like essentially like the biggest problem with like there's medical cocaine movements right now in South America.
And if you want to go
Mm,
out, you got to take
Yeah.
her out. You know.
Yeah, like there, cocaine's still a Schedule II drug in America. It's marijuana is a Schedule I.
mm.
Like the biggest problem with cocaine is when the CIA and the federal government came out with crack, and used cocaine to like take minority populations and bring them down. Because before that, cocaine was like a white collar drug. That was like Wolf of Wall Street fucking shit. Like, that was like, you were on Wall Street, you're doing cocaine, man.
Yeah,
So
you have to cut it
yeah,
with a platinum American Express card to do it really right. You know,
yeah, yeah. You got to be rich to do well with cocaine.
$100 rolled up bills.
It's funny. Some guys that I know who are very staunch conservatives and Republicans are some of the biggest advocates for legalized cocaine and legalized prostitution, and they're like, "Freedom, baby," and I'm like, "Whoa, slow
Woo!
down, Rude, slow down, buddy, slow
Does
down."
that
He's like,
does that mean that Matt Gates is going to file some legislation to lower the age of consent nationally down to 14?
"Oh, Gary with the low blow."
Mm.
Well, look, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole shitting on politicians all morning, but what I do want to do is give some kudos to some of the politicians who are doing it right, like our neighbors to the south in Puerto Rico. So Puerto Rico signed a
Oye,
law.
Puerto Rico, oye,
Yeah,
Puerto
Puerto
Rico.
Rico's governor has signed a law protecting qualified medical marijuana patients from workplace discrimination. Shout out to Puerto Rico's governor for doing the
Absolutely.
right thing. Now, if we could only get the Florida legislature to even give our bill a hearing, and let alone actually push it through the process and get it to the governor's desk. But under the expanded law, employers may not discriminate against authorized patients of medical cannabis in their recruitment, their hiring, designation, or the termination process, or when imposing disciplinary actions. And I think that is a vital component moving forward. Now, several U.S. states have similar degrees of protection. Those include Arizona, Arkansas, Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Montana, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Dakota, Vermont, Virginia, and West Virginia. But Florida, not there.
It's a little bit of a stretch for Florida, I gotta say, man. Like I have no faith for any of this happening in Florida. The reason being is because like we have dispensaries that fire people for having dreadlocks. So like
Mm.
I think the mentality here is a little bit different. I think really a lot of people don't realize, especially if you live in Miami, Orlando, or Tampa, that Florida is really a good old boy state, man.
Oh, it most
Uh,
definitely is. It's pretty much purple. That's
yeah.
only because the red stuff from the panhandle kind of dribbles down on top of the Democratic strongholds, as in Orlando and the Tampa area and Miami. Well, actually, not really Miami. Miami is half and half.
And Miami's half and half.
Yeah, we have the Hispanic Republican population along with the liberal
Would,
Democratic population.
would you say that Miami is a café con leche? Gary?
Con azúcar.
Dulce de leche.
Well, maybe that will change when it comes to freeing the Cubans right now from where they are while they're protesting. Maybe that'll make a difference. What do you think?
I don't know I mean, do you guys think the Cuban protests are going to make a difference when it comes to marijuana?
Well, I've been to Cuba as recently as 2008, no, 17. Yeah. No, we were there 17? No, 18. I went there the summer of 18. And the one thing that I learned about their cannabis there is it sucks. That, it's like
did you buy weed in Cuba? That's cool.
No, absolutely not. I brought my own. Come on, I like my weed grown with a taste of freedom and a little bit of danger.
The weed there sucks, right?
Yeah, I mean the swag is like $50 for a gram of swag that you're gonna get somewhere on the Malecon from some random dude. Versus, I had a vape pen of like XJ13, and I was hitting it, and I passed it to my driver. He's like, "What's this?" I was like, "It's Malta," and he was like, "Mentiras." It's like lies, and I was like, "No, seriously, hit it." He took like 3 hits. He was like, "Coño, what is this?" He started taking selfies, sending it to his friends. I was like, "Yeah, man, that strain is actually the one the CIA used to interrogate prisoners." And he was like, "Huh? Como?"
There's
another country corrupted by American tourists.
There's also a strain of mushroom that grows here in Florida. That's a Cuban psilocybin or whatever, psilocybin cubanus or whatever, however you call it.
Cubanus, yeah. There's also a Pensacola cubanus. Yeah.
I didn't know that. But Cubans, we love weed. We love mushrooms, man. That's the way it goes.
It's good to know that Pensacola is known for something else besides the crack cocaine. So it's nice to know they have their own mushroom strain named after them.
There's a lot of crack in Pensacola.
I'm not saying.
I haven't really gone to Pensacola.
I mean, they have spring break there, so wouldn't shock me. And Escambia County is like notorious. It's right there near the Alabama border. And I mean, think about it: the Alabama, Florida shore. Like, have you ever seen the shows? I mean, all those people do is drugs.
I don't feel comfortable in the Panhandle, to be honest with you.
I mean, I don't feel comfortable driving into Marion County any farther north. It's like I think Alachua was about a safe zone, but you run into some zero tolerance counties on driving through Florida, which can be terrifying because a zero tolerance county takes you straight to jail, no questions asked, for any minute amount of cannabis, whether it's a small joint, if you even smell funny and they can find it in your ashtray. The zero tolerance is definitely something that's a holdover from this systemic racism that we see in the war on drugs.
Bro, and we can tie this into Puerto Rico, like all those drugs that we were talking about. Like, we got comments in the in the comments section saying that Pensacola is known for meth, not crack. And here's the thing: drug tests.
It doesn't make any difference to me. Okay, whatever floats your boat.
Excuse you, Gary. It's you got your drugs misconstrued there. But either way, whether it's meth or crack, those drug tests you take for a job, right? They're not really specifically made to check out for meth or crack. Because that shit comes out of your system in just a few days. So marijuana stays in your system for a whole month when you're taking these tests. So so these people in Florida are doing meth and crack and working at the corner store, and people in Puerto Rico are smoking weed and they're able to keep their job.
Well, also ironic, Colorado doesn't have workplace protections. I recall the guy who got fired from his job at DirecTV in Colorado, and he was in a wheelchair. He's a legit medical marijuana patient. He's a quadriplegic. He works in a call center. He's not installing dishes on a roof where, maybe if you're a little stoned, you make the wrong move, you slip, you cause a workplace accident. This is a guy answering phone calls, dealing with Karens who are irate because they're paying too much for HBO. I mean, if anything, that guy definitely needs to medicate. And he gets fired from his job. And it's just, it really irks me that if this is going to be a legitimate medicine that is in over 40 states, then how come we still have these issues with the private sector? We need the businesses and culture to catch up as well with the laws.
Mm.
Now, it all depends on who's implementing the law, too. We're getting a lot of comments today about our buddy Grady Judd over in Polk County.
Yeah.
Grady said he will enforce the laws that he is given. So,
you had like a Grady Judd accent. Wow. We will enforce the laws.
Yeah.
And he is the pig in the polk.
Yo, you want to talk about feeling weird traveling around Florida some places when just going into Polk County, I feel weird.
Oh man, trying to get back and forth to Orlando, it's like, welcome to the danger zone. You put that cruise control on 69 and you just ride under the speed limit.
Yeah, I'm not stopping at a gas station. I just need to make sure I got plenty of gas before I go into Polk County. I'm a pilgrim in an unholy land.
We attempted to try and get Lakeland to decriminalize, and it ended up being a hung vote that they tabled it because there was not enough votes either way to either kill it or actually pass the ordinance. But the thing that struck out to me the most was that the city of Lakeland in 2015 arrested 401 people for simple possession, which is less than 20 grams. But out of that 401, 200 of them were black men. So if 6% of a city's population makes up 50% of its arrest for a crime, then to me, that shows that there's some type of implicit bias into the policing. And I recall the police chief at the time saying, oh, no, we just over-police high crime areas. And I was like, well, why do you consider black neighborhoods high crime areas? There are definitely some issues in policing in this country that people don't necessarily want to talk about, that they may be uncomfortable to talk about, but we need to address it.
Like a logical loop. Like we over police high crime areas. Like apparently there's high crime because you're over policing it. Maybe.
There you go.
I don't know.
There you go. Well, it's the same way the city of Tampa had that bicycle ticket issue where they 9 out of 10 bicycle tickets got issued to black folks, And that's what irritates me is that for all the advancement that we have at the local level, our policing is still an issue. I mean, even with how hard we fought for civil citations in the city of Tampa, what you see is citations tend to be given to folks who live across Kennedy versus folks who live in West Tampa or East Tampa.
Yo.
Now, you've driven through Louisiana, haven't you, Chris?
Oh, yeah. I'm glad that one time I drove through Louisiana and got pulled over, it was clean as a whistle because I was sweating bullets just being pulled over in Louisiana.
And somebody asked me why I was going so fast down I-10 in Louisiana. I said, I got to get to the chili trucks before it close down, man. Just I got to get straight through Louisiana into Texas so I can get one of those chili pies where they have the Fritos and they put the damn chili in it. That's I-10 Texas food.
I am so hungry right now.
But Louisiana, their bill they passed this last week, it's now going into effect. And with those guys, you only have to pay a $100 fine if you're caught with less than 14 grams. For those of you who don't know math, that is a half ounce.
So, yeah, Louisiana did just institute its decriminalization law. So, Gary, you're saying Louisiana has it's half an ounce now of flour, and you only get a ticket in Louisiana?
Yeah, exactly. It's 100 without any fear of jail time.
Could you guys imagine dispensaries in like New Orleans? Imagine dispensaries here in Ybor, man. Like that
New
would
Orleans
be
is
so
a place
cool.
where you could still walk down the street as long as your beer is in a plastic cup.
Yeah, right. And you can't have any weed.
And you're not supposed to carry around beer bottles.
I'm sure that if it gets crowded out there, like the police tolerate the smell of cannabis in the air,
Well, it has to overcome the smell of urine coming out of the sewers.
Oh God.
One of the things that in all of this, we talk about policing, we talk about criminal justice reform. We have to understand that states like Louisiana, Alabama, grow much of their agriculture on prisons. It's slave labor that is growing the food in many of these places. There are more prisoners in Louisiana than there are China and Iran put together. Now that is saying something about land of the free, right?
Wow.
So understanding that if we can chip away at this system, which has been putting Americans in jail for so many years, then even a little bit, then it is progress. It's not the end all, but we can keep working towards it, just chipping away, chipping away, chipping away, and ideally, decriminalization at the local level is one way we can do that. At the state level, are we going to get a medical marijuana initiative passed in 2022? The answer is no. There is no ballot initiative currently that is well funded enough, well organized enough, that has the ability to get it on the ballot in this upcoming midterm election. 2024, in a presidential year, more than likely. Also understanding that turnout tends to be lower in off-year elections. So if we can get it on the ballot in a presidential year, it's more likely to pass with the 6% that it needs.
Hey Gary.
What is that?
Hey Gary, did you find it?
Find what?
Your unfortunately named news segment by Gary Stein.
No.
Let me be clear, Gary. You can change the name of that segment at any time. You just gotta tell me what you want to call it.
Okay.
We don't have to call it what Ken wants. I would prefer we change the name to the segment.
Well,
I thought the G spot was clever. I just thought we could give Gary his time to shine.
Clever. It's clever. It is. But maybe we should be. Listen to me. I'm trying to be professional and stuff.
Yeah, I suppose so. Because we are semi-professionals. Don't try this at home.
Don't. You can't do what we do.
Well, what do we do?
I have no idea.
Here's what we do at Suncoast Normal. We help develop bills to make the laws better. Because as much as people don't want to have just total freedom, press a button, it's totally legal, don't have to worry about it anymore, that's not going to happen. Politics got us into this. Politics going to get us out of this. And we're all at varying degrees throughout all the states. It would be great if we could get federal legalization. That would solve so many problems, not only just interstate commerce, but also more access in regards to medical, because they can't take you. They wouldn't be able to take you off the transplant list because that's a federal list, or kick you out, or throw your medicine out if you're in ALF if they get Medicare rather. There's a whole host of things, including the banking, including insurance and things of that sort. And we're hoping to get there eventually, but we have to just continue fighting at both sides. So we're fighting at the state level. We do have bills again for this session coming up for medical protection, patient protection, expand the number of qualifying diseases, because just the 10 that we have doesn't cover them all, and that forces doctors to have to do some mental gymnastics to make it fit, and they're being chastised as to how they're doing that from the Board of Medicine, the Board of Osteopathic Medicine. So let's clear that up, make it easier for the doctors. Also get them telemedicine so they have it at all times. And of course, we are trying to get reciprocity so that when somebody comes over to Florida and they have a medical card elsewhere, they can use it over here. That makes perfect sense, because face it, health conditions stop you from going on vacation every once in a while. And do we really want everybody who is using this as medicine to go to Colorado instead of Florida?
Suncoast Normal. We want you to come to fucking Clearwater Beach and smoke weed, man. We want you to come to the beaches here, to Disneyland, and go to a dispensary. That's our goal. That's our goal.
Yes.
And that shit will save Florida.
Now, I know Disney's going to hate me for saying this, but it makes so much more sense when you're just slightly salivated, like
the guy's a political genius over here,
Geopolitical, yes, absolutely.
Geopolitical. And that's why we're awesome.
I mean, the world is changing.
We get bills and shit.
Mexico finally next month will start their legal cannabis sales, and let's just see what that does to the black market in Mexico. That's basically what they're trying to get rid of. They're trying to get rid of the grip that the cartels have on the supply chain over in Mexico by making certain that legitimate folks have the chance to be able to sell it. Wouldn't it even be greater if it is like it is in Europe right now, where you can get a prescription and take it to a pharmacy and you can pick up your weed there? It makes
That makes perfect sense to
You
me.
don't have to get let in by a security guard who unlocks the giant steel door and all this kind of thing. And they
Yeah,
actually allow to have their gummies to have colors. And speaking of which, because of the fact, I noticed some people have been wondering, Gary, are you wearing a mask with advertising on it? Well, it does say WANA, but I have to tell you that WANA is not one of our sponsors, so I can't say that this is actually what it says on my face.
we're just friends.
We're just friends. Now that you can't sponsor this show, we definitely could use the money, and we definitely buy your gummies. So,
Especially our friends.
especially our friends.
Yeah, sponsor this show, especially.
So
our
I want
friends.
to thank WANA for not being one of our sponsors, and hopefully we'll change that soon.
Yeah, we'll change that real soon.
And shout out to all the other MMTCs who are watching right now who could be sponsoring but are not.
Let's not brown nose those guys. Let's not do that. Not with those guys. Not with those guys.
Not with those guys. So,
But those
well,
out of state guys that want to come in here, yo,
you know,
Well, that's
what's up?
that's another issue. I mean, right now in Illinois, they're having a huge fight over the fact that they had a social equity push for the new licenses over there, and people from out of state are saying it is unfair that people in state have a better chance of getting a social equity discount and license than the folks who are out of state, because they are trying to concentrate, especially in the Chicago area, to make certain that Illinois folks and Chicago folks are the first to get those licenses. And it makes perfect sense. And we are stuck in a 50 state system right here of varying degrees. From Idaho and Nebraska that can't do anything to places like Texas where it's only CBD only. And we have medical states like ourselves. And we have medical and adult use like Colorado, California, Alaska, and the whole list over there. But
more than half the U.S. at this point. I mean,
even
come on now.
New Jersey and New York, it's
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
So, well, fellas,
Backwards
look,
people.
I will look forward to jumping into rotation with y'all next week. I got to run, but Gary,
Hasta luego.
keep updating the folks, and y'all keep it cool.
Bye, Kano.
see, this is what happens when you talk against the government over there in the Beltway. Every once in a while, they take you out of your house.
Yeah, that's why he had to go, because the goddamn government, the alphabet boys, were showing up in his driveway.
Those socialist, federalist, capitalist people.
I don't understand what you're trying to say.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that they're trying to work on it federally. We're hoping it does get it done. But right now, we're still dealing with state laws. And what that also means is that if you want to be a company that has a presence in more than one state, it's quite a process to create what is called a multi-state organization, because you have to apply in each different state, each different way. And that's one of the reasons why the licenses here in Florida have been like cherries to folks trying to get into the business. Sure, anybody would like to get their first license in Florida in a closed system, which only has 22 licenses, of which only 15 are actually active.
Yeah.
And so therefore you have a much more constricted market, not so much as a free market. We do have excellent MMTCs here, but of course the system could always be better. We could always use more competition. But the multi-state organizations, well, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Now, about 6-7 years ago, I went to the last meeting where they set up all the rules for the original set of licenses back at that point in time. And of course, they gave out 5 after it was all said and done, and the rest of them all got given their licenses through lawsuits. But I was remembering seeing what was going on at that particular meeting, and we said one of the most important things you need to do is to follow the money. We want to make certain this is a clean industry.
Straight to the top.
And so therefore you need to know exactly who is owning these MMTCs as they're going forward. But here's the problem. If you have a license which goes through the application process and they get a license here in Florida, it just doesn't make sense for somebody to be able to come in from another state where you have no idea where the money's coming from. And they just go ahead and they buy that license. So they're one step away from the application process, one step away from the kind of regulation that we had originally intended. So we really have no idea who are the owners of these multi-state organizations or MSOs.
At this point, I think we need to grow some balls. I think we need to take a cue to what California was doing back in the day and do city ordinances that will legalize marijuana.
Well, California has their own problems too. You have basic counties and cities that totally opt out of the program. So if you're trying to travel with a with stock to go from store to store, or whatever, or delivery. You have to avoid certain counties by going around them, as opposed to through them. Because if you're caught, of course, it's criminal.
Now I can't hear anything.
Oh, yeah, got a little blockage in there.
I think it's still going.
Are we off? Are we off the air? Are we still on the air?
No, we're still on the air.
Oh, okay, very
The
good.
microphone's going. It's just the headphones are malfunctioning.
So
So everything's fine.
well, we're curious to know what you feel about multi-state organizations. Do you think that they should have just as much access to the licenses here in Florida, or we should try to keep a Florida-based system where it's more of a closed situation and everybody here is a brand new company, as opposed to people who have had experience in other states?
Yo, like that's what I'm saying. Like I'd say that we close it off to just Floridians. As a matter of fact, I say we close it off to just Tampa.
Oh, there you
Nowhere
go.
else.
Or better yet,
No,
just
I-
Ybor City.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I say we close it off to just Floridians.
Well, in essence, we do have it
I
kind
don't.
of closed off. We don't have reciprocity, but
Well, right now,
as far as manufacturing and distribution
right.
of consumer packaged goods, right?
Well, right now, I mean, like we came to the conclusion last week. Like we were talking about this. I even got a note up here from Liv that says Vitacan is Florida based, by the way, Jacksonville. So
Okay.
I think we came to the conclusion last week that there's like 3 Florida based MMTCs, and without doing any more research, I'm just going to conclude that the rest are Canadian.
That is partially true.
Yeah, it's mostly true, and like that's I don't want to do the work, so I'm going to go to the safest bet and say that they're all Canadian. So,
well, some of them are hybrids.
Florida's medical marijuana industry is owned by Canada, basically at this point, or at least people that trade in the Canadian Stock Exchange, if you want to be technical about it. Nobody in Florida is doing anything like this, and we have a long history. We had the guys from Swamp City on the other day, from Gainesville, and like that. We talked about the history of Gainesville Green and how like cannabis culture kind of like became a thing in Gainesville and flourished for a little while. And yeah, so we've got a great cannabis culture here. We don't need no damn Canadians coming into Florida. Or
with
maybe
their
I
moose
shouldn't say
head beer and their polite attitude.
Yeah, being kind and nice and just really just great people all around. But we need to keep this money in Florida.
I think they keep beavers as pets. You know that?
It's a big thing with me. I think like one of the biggest things that we need to look at is not just where is the money coming from, but where is it going?
Absolutely.
Right. And like and I'm a big believer that we need to make sure that certain financial streams, or whatever you want to call them, should stay within certain communities.
Revenue streams. There you go.
Yeah, revenue streams or whatever.
He's at the MBA, by the way.
I don't know anything. I don't know anything. But no, we got to keep certain revenue streams within certain communities. I think we need to keep certain revenue streams within minority communities. We don't need to let that money leave that community, you know? So Florida needs this. Florida needs, first thing, what you're talking about before, we need the reciprocity so tourists can come here. Then we need to legalize so that we can actually put taxes onto cannabis. And then we need to open up the business, but open it up to Florida people. Florida people know weed. Man, you had your chance, Canada. You fucked it up here in Florida.
Now, I know this is really getting ahead of the game, but I am hoping that when we do get legalization here in Florida, we do have an adult use thing with an excise tax and with the sales tax and all that bit. The money from those taxes actually goes to where it's supposed to go.
Where is it supposed to go?
Well, it depends. And in various states, it goes towards education programs. And that kind of situation. It has to go where it can do the most good, help people get off the streets who are homeless and things of that sort.
Mm-hmm.
Because, face it, I mean, we shouldn't have an adult program just to make the state coffers thicker. It needs to do some good. Because that's basically what this plant is all about.
Well, you're making me feel all nice and warm and cuddly inside. But you're right. It needs to stay within do good, and it needs to stay within certain communities here in Florida. I think that's a good compromise between it needs to stay within certain communities and it can't go to crack.
No, and I apologize to Pensacola. Yes, you are officially methed up.
Yes, and Pensacola, it can't go to meth.
No,
No
I,
meth for Pensacola anymore.
I used to tell people that Pensacola is a one horse town and the horse is on meth.
Man, I gotta change this fucking headphone thing. It's
You,
it's distracting me. I don't like it.
you can't hear the thing or what?
I can hear it, but it's in and out. But it
Oh.
doesn't change. It literally, like, the people that are watching, like the actual people in the show, it only affects me. It doesn't matter to the live stream or the audio recording at all. It just matters to these ears.
Well,
I don't even think you're having problems with your headphones. Your headphones are working great.
My
Huh?
headphones are fine now. If you want, I can give you my headphones.
I don't want your headphones. I'll just take
I
these
mean,
off.
I give to others. That's just what I do. You know?
I'll just take these off. And that's weird to do the show
Okay.
without headphones now.
I mean, but as far as other states' laws are concerned, there's a certain level in Florida of Schadenfreude, which is a German term meaning, you know, getting pleasure off the agony of others. And in the Schadenfreude category for this week, we'll talk about Ohio.
Ohio?
Ohio. Absolutely. I moved here from Cincinnati back in 2007,
Huh.
and I couldn't think it's even possible for Ohio to get forward with their cannabis laws. But it was passed in 2016 as a medical program, and if you look at it, it is still very much stuck in the same place where we were at in 2017. You can actually sell plant matter, but you can only vape it. You cannot burn it. You can't smoke it. You can't combust it.
Can you do like Florida was doing for a while with the pods?
Exactly right.
That's what it is.
With a wink and a nod. Yeah, because we at one point in time we had these little tiny ceramic cartridges with a metal top to them that nobody could open up just by using a nutcracker. Nobody ever did that. Let's be clear.
I would take a hammer. Just smash it with a hammer. It'd be a lot of fun, but I get a lot of pieces of ceramic in my weed.
So they've been dealing with that law for 5 years now, and they've been trying to increase it. They've tried to improve it, and they actually have a 180-page bill that they're working on this session right now. But they're almost certain that the governor is not going to set it. Is not going to put it forward.
Huh.
So Ohio, I feel sorry for you guys. You have a medical program with definite issues, but hopefully you can get past that one day. But you got to stop eating that Cincinnati chili with the chocolate in it. Nobody ever puts chocolate in chili.
Chocolate? Well, no. I like chocolate in chili. I like chocolate in anything.
Yeah, you're basically mole sauce.
Yeah. Chocolate. That's like chocolate in like hot sauce, right?
Exactly right.
Not really, right?
Also in the California category.
What?
Also in the California category, one more item here is the fact that Curaleaf just had one of their subsidiaries pay off a $500,000 lawsuit because they were selling cartridges which they claimed was 100% cannabis inside, and yet they weren't because they were cut with thinning agents.
So Curaleaf was lying.
In essence, yes.
And they were selling that shit here in Florida?
No.
No? Where were they selling it?
Well, that was
they're like huge, right? Like they're in like multiple states, right? They're the biggest cannabis company in Florida, right?
Well, the biggest company in Florida is Trulieve. The biggest company in the country is Curaleaf. Curaleaf has like 80.
That's confusing as fuck, though, because like they're the biggest company that's doing business here in Florida.
And they also started back in Europe and in the Ukraine area, and they came over here with a huge amount of money, and they've got some decent price, some product lines. The Select line is kind of good, but you can't take those kind of shortcuts and expect no one to notice.
So wait, so they could have been poisoning. What were they cut with?
Tocopherol.
What the fuck is that?
Acetate. It's a thinning agent.
That sounds horrible.
It is, and that was one of the things that they were doing.
That could have fucked up patients, man.
Yeah, when they were having those vaporated lung incidents, but supposedly it's been settled. So hopefully they won't be doing that anymore.
So Floridians can't make quality bud here in Florida, but Russians can make
Well,
poison
Florida is not
in
optimal
Florida.
for growing. I mean, we got a lot of powdery mildew and everything else. We got a lot of bugs,
Don't give me that though.
high humidity.
There's strains that can grow in Florida. That's not how that works. It's not like cannabis. Cannabis can grow anywhere, and like it's just certain types of cannabis plants grow great in Florida. A lot of others don't.
There are vegetables in the supermarket that don't come from Florida that you could buy right now that you won't be able to find in Florida.
You can buy California oranges in supermarkets.
Yeah, that's right. Now, if you buy a carambola, it may be coming from Florida, it may be coming from California, it may be coming from elsewhere. We are a movable country. A lot of the things you buy in the supermarket don't necessarily come from your state,
Mm.
and that, especially when it comes to produce and things of that sort. So, why can't we have products imported from other states if they happen to have a strain that doesn't grow well in Florida that we could possibly use for a boutique method for curing a particular
Whoa, that's honestly
disability?
what it would be like once legalization happens. Like that sounds like utopia to me, Gary. Because that's honestly like we could like whoa man, we could like have outdoor weed at Whole Foods, and then we can go and like we can. I don't even know what strains to grow where, but we could have like Afghan Kush
Yeah, absolutely.
that doesn't grow well in the Florida Gainesville green areas.
Mhm.
Whoa.
Well, I'm going to throw out another product out here to somebody who's not sponsoring our thing because just he's a friend. Vinny Seduth, happy birthday today, and
Happy birthday, Vinny.
and we also want to applaud him for his new company that he and Hannah put together, Cushy Cakes.
Cushy cakes. Come in and chill them soon, actually.
If you like your Kush in your cheesecake, this is the place to go. They got
If
some
you
great.
like your
They got some great.
cheesecake,
They
in
got
your
some
Kush.
great flavors, and they don't sponsor our show, so I'm going to shut up right now. And you didn't hear what I just said. But happy birthday, Vinny.
Happy birthday, Vinny. And hi, Hannah.
Yeah, and now I've got to go ahead and go through my family because this week is this like 1.5 week segment of like every year is what we call in my house the month of cake
Mm-hmm.
because of the fact that I've got all my daughter's birthday and my wife's birthday within a week and a half. So we've dealt with that, and this Tuesday is my 40th wedding anniversary. Going strong. So a shout out to
Happy
my wife.
anniversary to Gary and Monique.
That's right. She's put up with a lot this last 40 years, and I'll make certain that guy gets out of that house soon. But he cuts the lawn, and he cleans the pool.
So we've got a couple of things coming up. We've got Suncoast Normal member meeting coming up.
That's right, on the 26th.
And here's the best thing about our member meetings is that you don't even have to freaking try and get the link ready. You don't even have to show up to any place or any event. You could just access it online.
This medicine is literally virtual.
Yeah, so you can join us for our Suncoast Normal member meeting on August 26th for absolutely free. You just have to log in on August 26th. You can click the link to register that I just dropped in all the chats and all the social media platforms that we're on. And it's up on the screen if you haven't seen it. And for those of you that are listening, you can log in on our website and join us there. And yeah, you got anything else going on, Gary?
We had a new cannabis license given out to the Cherokee Indians over in North Carolina, which is interesting because they're sovereign land. They don't necessarily have to follow the rules and regulations of that state. Like if you ever go to Las Vegas, there's a dispensary called Nuwu where they don't pay sales tax because it's the Paiute Indians that own that particular that store.
I gotta admit, man, I thought you were like giving me a signal earlier that you wanted to end the show.
Yeah, I do. Well, I just wanted to.
But you have more news to do.
Well, just to throw this one thing out, and then that'll be the end of it.
Okay.
But there's another gentleman in Florida who is also a Cherokee, who is also has challenged the Pigford license, and the state here has said they're not going to issue any new licenses until the Pigford license goes out. More power to the folks who want to push social equity, but I don't think we should stick with only one license, and I don't think we should hold up all that just for the first license. It should definitely be given out. It's 5 years too late, but it is never too late. That's what it comes down to. And it's never too late to work hard to make things better in the state of Florida. You hang out with Suncoast Normal, and you will be part of the solution. And that is where I'm going to close it.
Yeah, join
I get the
Suncoast
last word.
Normal.